You're listening to the Game Tenants Podcast.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Game Tenants Podcast, the failed adventures of two gamers and their quest for Gamecast stardom. This is episode 49, and I'm Church of the Game Grinder, and as always, joined by my awesome co-host,
Jason from Corpse Flood Gaming. How you guys doing?
That's how you do it right there.
Yeah.
So
Charisma.
things are good. So what have you been up to?
Well, I've been doing a shit ton of gaming, actually. Keeping up with the momentum I had going and playing a lot of Yakuza.
That's what we like to hear.
Yeah, I'm doing like all the side stories and everything. I'm not rushing through it. I'm about 63 hours into it, and on the 6th chapter. I think there's 13 or 17. And I'm loving every minute of it. It's I really wish I knew how good the series was before I kind of like half-assed ignored it for so long. Like I was always curious, but I never went out of my way to like, all right, I need to pick one of these up and check it out. So it's better late than never for sure. I'm all in on this series now, and I'm gonna be keeping going with it. Besides Yakuza, I also been playing a bunch of Injustice. I pick up the Ninja Turtles and a couple of the other add-on characters for it, and I'm super enjoying it. I really liked the first Injustice, and this one's just almost even better.
Are you playing it online?
No, not really. I just played a couple like just here and there like exhibition matches and a bit of the story, and the story's pretty cool. I think I might like the story of the first one better, as far as I've gotten so far, but the gameplay is tight, man. It's another Realm game, so like they know what they're doing with fighting games by now.
Yeah, I do. I need to pick those up. I've pretty much from what you've said and some other things I've heard that the campaigns are pretty sweet, and
yeah, I mean it's like a superhero thing, so like I enjoy the stories usually in their superhero ones more than the Mortal Kombat ones. Mortal Kombat's kind of...
I love the Mortal Kombat stories. Don't be talking shit.
I'm not talking shit on Mortal Kombat, but just more than Mortal Kombat. Like Mortal Kombat, like you don't really even need a story with Mortal Kombat. It speaks for itself. And like the original one was just like there's a tournament, and you're like good enough. There you go. I'm all in on that. It's badass.
It was like Enter the Dragon, but with like murder.
Yeah, murder that's immediately forgiven and reversed. But yeah, like I've enjoyed the last must be 6 or 7 NetherRealm games like a lot. Like all the Mortal Kombats they put out the last couple of years, they've been batting 100 for me.
Yeah.
I'd say the weakest one would be maybe Mortal Kombat versus EC, but even that I liked it a lot. Like I wouldn't call it a weak game at all. I still really enjoyed that too. So
Sure.
I mean, when I brought that up, they're doing pretty good. I still have to get to the Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, since I picked up that special edition a while ago. I've been really wanting to try that out, but I just I like to space out my fighting games.
Yeah.
So I'll just Ninja Turtles put in Injustice 2 like at the top of my list for sure. And then with the kids, I've actually been playing a bunch of Kirby Star Allies out of nowhere. I just kind of impulse pre-ordered it, like pretty much a couple days before it came out. I was like, you know what? Yeah, I gotta pick that up. It looks really cool for, you can play up to 4 players on it, and how many games can you do that with now? And that's what Nintendo's good at. So I was just like, you know what? Yeah, I'll get something besides racing, because the kids love their Mario Kart and Diddy Kong Racing and all the racing games, but eventually they're going to want to do something else besides racing and be competitive. They like to team up sometimes. So I was like, oh, you know what? This is a perfect game to do that. And they liked Kirby automatically just from how he looked. So now give them an actual concrete reason to like him, because the games are usually awesome. There's only been a couple, gimmicky ones, but even the gimmicky ones are good with their gimmicks. So I don't know. It's a game I kind of just put those on the back burner for a long time, but really they're all excellent games. It's just because of how they look. It's hard to justify being like an adult man playing a game about a fluffy pink ball, but you know what? I'm comfortable with myself and I can play Kirby games and enjoy them. So yeah, that's I'm glad I picked it up. It's a lot of fun. So definitely recommend it, especially if you have a Switch and kids.
I swear, so that's a new Kirby game that just came out, right?
Yeah, it just came out on Friday.
I swear I heard that like was getting like terrible reviews.
Not.
But maybe I'm thinking of something else.
Not from anyone I've heard of. Even in our shared game groups, there's everyone seems to be just all over it and liking it. It's kind of.
Wonder what I'm thinking of.
I've been hearing it's kind of short, but it's enjoyable, and there's a lot. If you want to 100% it, there's like a lot of sad stuff to do. I mean,
sure. Cool.
It doesn't need to be particularly long as it's enjoyable.
Yeah, right.
If it's got replay value, that's a major plus. But yeah, so I'm happy to be getting to play not just a little bit of one game once in a while. I'm happy to get some real play in on several games. So hopefully I can chip away at this backlog instead of letting it bury me.
Right.
And besides that, I am getting closer to actually getting some friggin' videos out. I picked up some new studio lighting. I don't know if it shows any in the video part here, but hopefully it looks a bit better. So, all goes in line with my trying to up the quality of the channel. And I think I'm liking what's coming out in the editing so far.
Cool.
There's a little bit of snags, as always. I always seem to have some kind of technical snag or problem with the program, or one of my laptops just won't start. That's got crucial things on it. or, but I think it's getting there. I know, broken record, but it's getting there. So,
we're all looking forward to it.
More importantly, what have you been up to?
Well, I have not been doing much as far as video stuff. I've actually kind of been like breakish / in a funk, but next week I'm planning on getting some content up. So that is that. Other than that, I've been gaming quite a bit, squeezed in a couple games since the last episode. As I had mentioned before, I was going to play Resident Evil VII, and I have since completed Resident Evil VII and the 2 story DLCs. And yeah, it was I went into it with tempered expectations. I've pretty much only heard good things about Resident Evil 7. I was very, very weary about it after the last few Resident Evil games, mainline Resident Evil games.
Yeah, I don't blame you, but yeah, it's a beacon of light in the darkness there.
Yeah, I mean, of course, they switched camera angles. It's first person instead of being the third person, which isn't really a huge change when you actually sit down and play the game. I mean, in a lot of ways, Resident Evil 7 was with less heroes, I guess, as it were. I mean, it's basically kind of like Resident Evil 1.
Yeah, in a way, especially when you're in that house a lot. You're like in the same building.
And then eventually you expand to this other area. Oh, and now you're going into this other area. Yeah. There's a lot of similarities, which I have no problems with, because I love Resident Evil for the classic series. 1, 2, 3, Code Veronica are my favorites by far. I also thought Revelations. I really, really liked the first Revelations. Revelations 2 I enjoyed, but I didn't think it was as good as the first one. And then four is good, but that's where not only the gameplay kind of got out of hand, but the story went like full Happy Jack from Tropic Thunder. We went.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Never go.
And so setting, atmosphere, I think they did a fantastic job. I'd be curious to know, and I could probably do the research and figure it out, but I'm curious to if they had started working on that version of Resident Evil, or if they did actually take inspiration from PT. Because I liked some of those. They pulled in some other very minor elements besides just having, you have your antagonists that are constantly messing with you throughout the story. They throw in some kind of other neat things to try to build a little bit more atmosphere. Yeah. Which I really, really, really liked. Graphically, looks fantastic.
It really does.
The scenery in some of those areas is just like, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's breathtaking. Like, especially like even like what I've played in VR, I thought was just breathtaking and amazing. Like, there's a reason it won like best VR game.
Yeah, and
because it's like I love it. I mean, if it wasn't for the motion sickness problem, I would have beat it by now. But it's just like, it kind of sucks to have to take gravel to play a game.
Yeah. I would really love to play, like, sit down and replay it in VR now. Like, I know we tried it before and I got motion sickness like super fast, but I would like to try to trek through that because, I mean, horror games, I'm not scared by horror games. There's some times where games can, like, kind of give you it's a little creepy, but not even jump scares. I'm just talking about like good atmosphere.
Yeah,
like ones that actually will kind of give me easy. Yeah. And there was some good moments in 7, and doing a lot of 7 in VR. Like, I wanna see how like my body responds, because there's some, like, some of the boss encounters with some of the family, like some of that shit's just bonkers, and seeing that taking up your entire vision, like,
I'm just crying because of the adrenaline.
So I mean, I already wanted to get a PSVR, but like I want to get PSVR just a little bit more. It's just I really need to get that good price point, and at this point, since PSVR has been out for a while, they're going to have a revision if they haven't already. Have they done a revision already?
Not that I know of. They just have packages like the consoles. Like, there's a Doom pack, and there's a Skyrim pack in, but I don't think anything's really updated or changed. Yeah,
and then
I've been playing a lot more of VR lately. Speaking of Skyrim, and I was gonna start up some Doom today, but I didn't. I want to play more of Skyrim. I played probably about 2 or 3 hours with my friend. I forgot to mention that, but it's pretty fun. It's funner than I thought it would be, and it's more intuitive. Like, I thought it would just be I thought I would just end up giving up and playing with the controller, but the teleport thing isn't annoying or bad.
Yeah, you just gotta get used to it, I'd imagine.
I got used to it almost right away. It's very easy to use. Like, it's more just the what's the menu? Okay, now what do I do? I'm in the they gotta do this. It's like the first time you played the Wii again.
Yeah.
But less. I think it's gonna last longer for me.
Yeah.
I intend to actually try to beat it at some point again. Maybe not go as in depth as I always end up going with Skyrim, but I want to do that. I want to do Doom. My wife and I played it a bunch the last little while too, and I ended up showing her Accounting Plus, and she was laughing harder than I was at it the first time I played it. So that was good. It was good to play games with her again. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then besides Resident Evil. What else have you been playing?
Well, I had some more thoughts on Resident Evil.
Sorry, didn't mean to cut it off. Tangent.
Mainly, I wanted to touch on the story. Just nothing like specific, more just in general. The overall Resident Evil universe story is still stupid as shit.
Yeah.
And they really, I was, in some ways I was really hoping that this was going to be like a hard reboot.
Yeah. Well,
I love the classic characters. I want to see Claire and Leon and Chris and Jill, but
yeah.
the whole universe is just so far gone. Like, they lost control of it. It went off the rails in 4. Like, if they could have contained Resident Evil 4 and didn't keep running with it, I think it would have been okay. But then they kept going with it, then turned into this and this, and now you got this organization and this organization, and that universe does tie into 7 like a lot later in the story, and it's
a shame. Yeah, it's a shame.
But the self-contained story in Resident Evil 7, dealing with the family, the Bakers, and the main characters, Ethan and Mia, like I enjoyed that. It was just when it started to turn into this grandiose.
Oh, we gotta tie
ridiculous.
It in.
Yeah,
we gotta tie it in with the shitstorm eventually.
But
I figured like the actual horror element was there again.
Yeah,
the last few was like an action hero element.
It was. I mean,
like
I didn't to the world of survival horror.
Like I didn't hate 5. It was a fun co-op game, but it wasn't a Resident Evil game.
Yeah,
it was it was almost like a House of the Dead where you controlled your character.
Kinda, yeah. So if anybody has been on the fence about 7, like, and if you miss Resident Evil, we've still had some okay Resident Evil stuff, like I said, Revelations and whatnot, but for the most part, for like the last many years, it's just not been what I wanted anyways. But yeah, Resident Evil 7 is great. The 2 story DLCs were pretty enjoyable. They're pretty short. There is one that immediately follows up at the end of Resident Evil 7, dealing with it's not a spoiler because it's the DLC itself. It's called Not a Hero, and it has Chris Redfield, and it's free, so that's pretty sweet. It's relatively short. It was like, I think it took me like an hour to get through it. And then the other one was End of Zoe, which kind of deals with one of the other characters, and that I think took me an hour and a half. That was $10, but I didn't mind so much because I got the game. You gave me the game, so no cost there. $10.
They basically paid $10 for the whole experience.
$10 to support the developer, sure. And I enjoyed the DLCs. So those are where there's a couple 2 other DLCs that are just like mostly like mini games kind of stuff, like little trials. I don't care about those.
Yeah, I know they've kind of tied those into the last couple too.
Yeah. And then so after Resident Evil 7, I was trying to decide what I wanted to play next, and I keep talking that I need to play more retro stuff because my retro backlog just grows and grows and grows.
Me too.
And I'm always just trying to keep up with the modern stuff, so I was like, screw it, I'm gonna play something that I keep talking. So I decided to go back to the Sega Master System, and finally sat down and played through Golvellius, Valley of Doom.
Yeah,
it was excellent. Once I finished the game, I'd posted my usual like just beat it screenshots, and pretty much my sentiment there was, I wish I played this game when I was a kid, because it was a great, I really enjoyed it. It's definitely ranks up pretty high there with the like retro adventure games. A lot of people like to call it a Zelda-like. So in that genre, like, this is a great game. And if I would have played it as a kid, like, no doubts about it, like, I would probably look back on this game with a great fondness and always recommend it when people are talking about like, must play retro games. Now playing it later, I still think for someone who enjoys the retro stuff, who enjoys the adventure games, the Zelda likes, like it's definitely a must play. But I wouldn't push it as hard as I would if I had like, this built up lifelong nostalgia for it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, like, as far as my backlog for the Master System goes, that's one of the first ones I wanted to tackle. Would be that, Dragon's Trap, and Golden Axe Warrior.
Nice.
Golden Axe Warrior probably first because
yeah, I'd take with that.
For it. But
but yeah, Golvellius it's good shit. And what's interesting is, so I started playing the game, and essentially it's pretty straightforward. It kind of shifts through a couple different kind of genres in a way. There's some side-scrolling levels that typically are like, the boss dungeons are either going to be a side-scrolling level or kind of almost like a vertical shooter in a way. So the game starts out, you do the side-scroller level, and then you come to the top-down overhead view, much like original Zelda. And basically almost every screen has an entrance, if you were, to mostly to NPCs. They will give you information. Some will sell you like health upgrades, gold upgrades, some items, healing, and passwords. And you go around each area, each screen. You have to kill a few guys, or maybe you have to stab this bush to reveal the thing. Like nothing too obscure, not like original Zelda obscure, where you have to like bomb every single wall. Where this is like, hey, why is there this bush here? I'm gonna go stab it, and then it reveals a dungeon. But as I'm playing through it, eventually I come across this one NPC, and I was like, wait a second. So this all came to me. So Golvellius was made by a company called Compile, and Compile also worked on The Guardian Legend, which is one of my favorite NES games. And apparently,
did that as one of your choices for one of the old ass Retros Gamers videos.
Yes. And so I started looking at some of the other games that they made, and for some reason I can't think of them. They also did like Zanak. They made Gunak, Puyo Puyo. There's some other notable mentions, but in the early days, they carried this character over. It was like a mascot almost. This Randar, he's like this blue blob dude. And when I saw him in Golvellius, like all of a sudden, all these similarities to the Guardian Legend kicked in. Like Guardian Legend shifts through different genres. You got your overhead, classic adventure game, which shifts into the vertical shooter. Like a lot of screens, how you navigate through, and you have to expose the other corridors and stuff. It just clicked and it made sense. And what was really cool about the Randar thing is not only did I see him, but the music was basically like an alternate version of the same music that they used in the Guardian Legend, which I thought was really neat to like put this piece together. Like, I'm pretty sure I heard this information before, but just I hadn't seen it like actually playing a game.
It's cool when you kind of forget something and then you're like, oh yeah, and you realize it's almost like realizing it for yourself, and then you're like, even though I totally knew that somehow in the back of my brain, it was like, I like when it's cool. It's like an Easter egg. Right. To the other games. It's cool.
So, I mean, it's not like a super long game. I think I beat it in like 10, maybe 12 hours or so. I've seen a lot of people say they didn't need any sort of help through getting through the game, but I had to refer to a guide a couple times just because there's some backtracking that's required that's
not implied.
Maybe not full on, not necessary backtracking, but to to like get all the upgrades, which I needed for the end boss. I had to look up some things just because I couldn't figure out a few things. I'm sure with enough time, it could be figured out. But I try not to knock a game too much for having a guide, especially because they're so easy to access now, where back in the day, you could be completely screwed, where at least now you can look up the internet. Gameplay, there's kind of like a learning curve. It kind of handles a little differently just because everything's just straight lines. And music, really enjoyed the music. Again, I saw a lot of similarities to the Guardian Legend, which I would imagine there's probably other similarities to the other Compile games. And overall, being a retro game, the stories aren't like much
Super
of a thing.
Yeah.
There was enough. They threw enough personality with like some of these like random NPCs will just like give you information. There's a couple times where they don't tell you anything, and it just made me think of I Am Error from Zelda 2. It's like, okay, you just wasted my time in this little dungeon here, but whatever. So I definitely recommend it again for anybody who's into the retro things. And just one other little neat thing that I actually didn't know is, are you familiar with any other game companies with the name of Compile?
I don't think so.
Well, more along the lines of like anime games. Compile Heart.
Oh, okay.
They made like the Neptunia games and some of those kind of like fan servicey waifu games. That's actually Compile. Compile eventually became Compile Heart, and now they're making like all these anime games, which I thought was pretty interesting. Very different from their roots. I mean, their roots were very grounded in shmups, shoot 'em ups. But it's kind of neat to see that, hey, that company's still making games. I don't know if any of the people who were there during those times are still around, but I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's good to hear about companies still being around in general, because there's only a couple companies you're just like, I wish they would die off. Like, yeah, but
as long as they relinquish like all their like IP holdings, because I want EA to go away, but I don't want to lose all those games that they have on lock and key at this point.
Yeah, just have to give up their assets, like Pharma Bro when he got relinquished all his shit in the Wu-Tang album.
Right.
It's like that. Like, we relinquished BioWare. Oh no. Well, just to keep us out of hot water. Maybe that'll happen.
Right.
It'd be great. It'd be glorious if that happened.
Yeah, for sure. So you actually watched something in the theaters.
Yeah, I did. I went to the movie theater. Partook in a cinematic experience.
Nicely put.
Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, I had a good time.
Yeah. What'd you see?
Oh, yeah, about that. Went to see the new Tomb Raider movie. My wife and I on Monday there, we went and see the new Tomb Raider. It's actually pretty good. I think I liked it more than the older ones, to be honest. Cool.
So, and I talked to you about this when you had mentioned that you're going to see it, that, I refer to reviews and things like that. Not that any of those bear any weight, because as historically it goes, like, we disagree with a lot of reviews a lot of times, which...
Yeah, well, don't go see that. Still gonna.
So I thought it was interesting that initially a lot of the complaints I was seeing was people were complaining that the movie was too much like the game. And I was kind of scratching my head, because normally when video game movies come out, they're so different. People are like, why'd they change it? Why didn't they just make it like the game?
Make your own movie if you want to make a movie about that crap that had nothing to do with Super Mario.
And just people blow my mind. You can't please them. It's like, here's a movie that follows the game like maybe incredibly well, and that's a fault now when that's what we've wanted from our video game movies the whole time. So
I want it to be like the character in the game. I want it to be like this. But then when it's like that, you're like, it's too cool.
So
okay, without spoiling anything, it's basically the premise of the reboot from, was it 2014? 2013? 2013? Where you go to the island of Yamatai and you're looking for the Himiko, to the bringer of death and whatever.
Mhm.
It's essentially centered around that same plot, but it goes its own way. Like, it's not just like watching the movie going, oh yeah, I remember beating this part of the game. Yeah, I remember that. And this and that. There's calls to the game. They're pretty obvious. There's a lot of similarity to it, but in no way it was like was I like bored because I knew it was going to happen.
Mhm.
Because a lot of stuff was completely different, but in not a terrible way. It wasn't like there wasn't a lot of like the lone wolf stuff that was naturally in the game because you're playing Lara, so you'd see people once in a while, but that's kind of the cool atmosphere for the game.
Yeah, and that makes sense.
But in the movie, just watching her walk around silently and would be kind of like, unless she's getting attacked, she has no one to talk to. And it took kind of a Indiana Jones vibe with it, like kind of like the Last Crusade-ish, where there's like a group trying to help solve, because someone has to fall into those traps, because in the game you can see her fall and have terrible luck in their gruesome traps, like because they can't really do like a cutaway or like a split screen, like her jumping over a gap and like actually she doesn't make it, and they're just showing like a stick going through her throat or something, like, oh yeah, well, glad she made it. I don't know why they had to show that. Anybody who like didn't play the game would be like, why does it keep doing that? It's really scary. Or like her going down a river and like, oh, she didn't pull it too far this way and she hit a rock and died. Like, why does it keep showing that? So there was there's a lot of things that like made me think of the game, but it wasn't ever really too similar to the game that I was just bored. I mean, there were some things I kind of wish were represented a little bit from the game, but all in all, if I want that part, I can play that game again. I have it. All in all, it was a pretty good movie. It wasn't super fan servicey or whatever. They didn't they didn't try to make her super hot or anything in the movie. Like, she's not ugly by any chance. Like, it really is very similar to the character in the new game. She's like, it's definitely a gritty. She's not like tumbling down a hill through the mud and all of a sudden she like just gets up and just perfect makeup and her clothes are just like lightly dusty. Like, it's just as brutal as the game, I would say, in that respect. So I really was impressed with it. It's a movie I'd watch again. Like, I think I've seen the other ones maybe once, maybe twice if I caught one on TV. Like, they're not awful, but it just was like, I've seen that. And
so I guess in the grand scheme of video game movies, where would you put it on that list? Not specifically, but general.
Well, I would put it 3 out of 29. But it was good. Like, I would
rank it pretty high.
I'd like to see a sequel to it. It doesn't necessarily have to be Rise of the Tomb Raider next,
right?
In its own way, but they set it up where I was interested in seeing more. And there was no part where I was just like, oh my god, why did they do that? The beginning of her like going on her adventure kind of dragged a bit at the beginning. It's like, come on, go raid some tombs.
Well, they got
they
establish.
They established it. So it dragged a little bit on parts that didn't really need to, because if they do a sequel, then maybe it'll be like, okay, well, yeah, I remember that guy from the first one, because there's people you just don't see again. You're like, why was that even important to the story?
Right.
At the end of it. But I mean, if they go back and you're like, oh, that's her friend from the other one, that's cool, then it'll make more sense. But yeah, there was nothing felt like awful out of place, but it was just like, yeah, enjoyable film. I recommend checking it out, especially if you like Tomb Raider. I think
Awesome.
you'd like it.
That's good to hear because I'm a big Tomb Raider fan. If anybody didn't know, I've been playing the series since the original release on the PC. I didn't have the PC version, but my friend did.
You got three or four of the games, even, I think, don't you?
every North American release, but the original, the one with Angela Jolie, the first one, it was okay. It's not something I'm gonna necessarily sit down and rewatch all the time. Second one, same, but those were like, just like in spirit Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Where this one, I mean, adapting the game.
Yeah, like
very appealing.
And it's think to people who don't even game, it would be like a pretty decent action movie
because it's not all fan service and throwbacks and callbacks to the games.
Yeah,
so,
if someone had no idea that it was a game, they might be like, "Oh my god, it's just like why didn't they just make another Indiana Jones movie?"
Yeah, so it'll be a good
in its own way. It was its own thing. It was pretty cool. I definitely enjoyed it.
Awesome. So then one thing that I wanted to talk about, I didn't intentionally do this, but last time kind of snubbed your thoughts on Nier Automata because I wanted to talk a lot more about it, and then I looked at the clock, I was like, crap, things are getting late. So I wanted to give you the opportunity to talk about it, and maybe we can...
Well, I just opened my mouth and you're like, shut. Okay, anyway, new thing.
So,
Nier Automata, another thing I definitely super enjoyed. I mean, I knew right from the get-go, like looking at it, the whole style of it, reading the synopsis of the story, and then obviously hearing other people raving about it. I knew I was going to enjoy the world. I mean, I felt like I shouldn't be playing it without playing more of the first one. Like I started the first Nier, and
with that, I mean, did you watch? So I had sent you a video before you played the game that covered the stories from. It summarized the stories from Drakengard and the original Nier, and you should watch that.
Yeah, I did watch, but I mean, I felt
like gives you a lot of the context.
Yeah, it was like I still want to, it's just like why I didn't play Yakuza. Right. I was like, I don't want to start on Yakuza 3 because there'll be things I'm like I would appreciate more.
Yeah.
If I played
I totally feel you there. I got
that's how I felt. Like I don't ever really like to start on the sequel or anything if I can help it, unless I know I wish someone told me like just if you ever want to play Assassin's Creed, skip the first one and just don't even bother. but yeah, I probably still would have anyway because of how I feel about doing that.
That's what I do too.
But I loved it. Like I loved the changing of the stylings and everything too. It would go from shmup to just like a hack and slash, open world with just the combat itself was all different. With just the pod added so much to the combat that it wasn't just hack and slash and shooting maybe like a Devil May Cry or Bayonetta kind of thing, and just the freeness to kind of do what you want, but not over saturated or empty. It was just right in the middle. The leveling of the story, I think calling them endings was maybe a bad choice.
Yeah, I totally.
It should have been chapters.
I agree because it throws so many people off.
It should have been just called Act.
Yeah,
I finished Act 1.
It's totally like artistic presentation thing. Like I get it, but for most people, they see those credits, they check out. I actually there somebody that I follow that was like, okay, everybody's raving about this game. So and so said to check this out, so I'm checking it out. He started playing the game. He took out his OS chip. And you know what happens when you take out your OS chip in Nier? Your character dies because it's kind of like a little thing. It's almost like for funsies. Like you don't really get penalized. It's you do it, oh crap, and then you just reload. But instead of just saying, oh, you pull out your OS chip, game over, restart, they do a little ending. You get an ending name because every single one of the quote unquote endings is associated with a letter, and then it has like a title, and then they do a quick credit scroll. And he pulled out his OS chip, he died, he saw that credit scroll, he's like, okay, I'm out. He's like, first of all, that was stupid that they did that. They didn't give me any warning, they just killed me, which they do. It says do not remove your OS chip. And then he's like,
that's like saying just delete Win32 from your computer.
Right.
Oh, is your computer slow? Delete Win32.
And then he said he saw the credits, and that's all he needed. It's like, you didn't even give the game a chance, man. Come on.
Is that how you beat Far Cry 4 too? When the guy said, "Hey, wait right here," he just sat there and waited, and he's like, "Glad I listened because it took me like 15 minutes to beat Far Cry 4. I don't know what anyone's raving about. It kind of sucked."
And I would probably imagine for the most part, like that person probably wasn't honestly like interested in playing the game. He
just wanted to play it to shut people up. I mean,
it's not going to be for everybody. That's for sure. Like, I don't expect everybody to love the game.
Well, like I said to you immediately when I got ending A, which is the longest ending it takes to get, because especially if you're like doing side stuff, which I did like just almost all of. I'd say like 99% of everything I did.
Yeah, same.
Side stuff, except for the one storyline with the shopkeep guy, whatever his name was.
Yeah.
As soon as I got it, I was like, how do people stop there? That doesn't even feel like an end. I would be like, this game sucks.
Right, and a lot of people did. Like,
I would be like, oh, it was cool, and then it just like punched you in the dick.
And do they then shut off the game? They're like, oh, credits, I'm gonna shut off the game. I don't care, because after the credits it says, hey, the story's not over. Keep going. And if you,
but people probably just see that as like a new game plus, and they're like, yeah, you want me to just play it over again? But
they start you out in a completely different new situation that you hadn't seen before as a different character. Sure, B has, it's an abridged A playthrough, but then like once you hit that point where B goes further than A, that's when the story like, wow, it's fucking crazy. And like I was like, holy crap, this is amazing. Yeah. Like that's when the game really caught me, was at that point.
Yeah, like
it was fun. Sorry. I said it a million times, like stopping at A is playing a good game versus completing the game of the year material. Good game of the year material. That's like the big, it's like watching Lord of the Rings and stopping after 40 minutes.
Yeah. Like, oh, you made it part of the way there at least. So it was all right movie. I enjoyed what I saw of the journey.
Yeah.
I don't know if we got there or if they all died or whatever, but I just do want to. I want to cut it off where I enjoyed it. I didn't want to possibly get to a part where I might not like it.
Yeah, and Gravity Rush 2 also did a similar thing where you get to a point and they actually do a credits roll, and it's like, okay, so I saw this and I was like, wait a second. I was like, they're ending it here. This is like, because Gravity Rush 1, like the ending was kind of abrupt. And 2 did the same thing. I was like, what? But then after the credits, like it puts you back at your house, like almost like you're just in like a free roam mode.
Yeah.
But then all you got to do is just move. And all of a sudden, here's this crazy ass, like flowy golden angel character that you haven't seen anything like this in the game. It's like, you look at it and then it like starts like drifting away. And it's like, whoa, what the hell is that? And then you follow it and boom, now you got 4 more hours of like everything that you were missing, that you're like, oh crap, where's all this stuff? Oh, it's right here. The game reviewer Yahtzee, who does the Zero Punctuation review series, like here's a guy who professionally reviews games. He's been doing it for years and years and years. And
Yeah.
he stopped playing at the credits of Gravity Rush 2. And he's like, he sat down, put how many hours into this review, and like, it's like, dude, you didn't even finish the game. And he's like tearing it apart because of it.
Yeah, like I said, like I would have felt shorted. Like, what, do they run out of money? If A was the actual ending of the game, I'd be like,
And it doesn't even feel like an ending.
yeah, I was just like
at all.
It just kind of just dropped. If it stopped like that, I'd be like, well, there better be some free ass DLC. That's all I would have said. If that was the end of the game, I'd be like, where's the free DLC that ended it? Because like, that was bullshit. And I'm like, yeah, I don't understand how you stop at that. Because you want to be like, okay, really, like, what happens?
Yeah,
it's at a point where like nothing's really resolved. Something just happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, so yeah, I definitely liked. I'd say the longest feeling of the playthroughs was B, because you do a lot of the same stuff from the other character standpoint. So 9S's standpoint, but I was just like,
But you don't have all the side quests.
Yeah,
You
did
them all.
Yeah, because anything you did is already done. You don't have to worry. Anything you didn't do, you have another chance to do. So that's cool. I got a lot more of my stuff done that way. Because there's a couple things where like, I didn't realize I was at a point that kind of like ended being able to complete those, and there's like ones I was like 90% of the way through, and it actually really pissed me off. I think I complained to you when that happened too. Just cool. So yeah, I was on like the last part of that, and thankfully one of them, the fighting the fighting robot where you keep
The Kung Fu Master.
Yeah. Thankfully, when you complete one, you can start the next time. You can start from where you were at, but all the other ones, you're like, no, you're starting again. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the only part I was just like, dumb. I don't want to do that. I am not reloading an earlier save to complete those, because then I'd have to redo all this other stuff. So I was just like, whatever. Maybe I guess I won't complete it. Then I ended up getting like all the endings, because you can do like after ending C, you can go back and
chapter select, essentially.
Chapter select. There's other little side things you can do, and then so I ended up actually getting the platinum on it, and
Nice.
That's one of my only platinums I have on my account now, since I started using a different account. So I was like, yeah, cool. I mean, I don't, like we said before, I don't generally go out of my way, but it's kind of a proud one to have like all those for. So it was fun. I definitely they need to have a single
soundtrack.
Soundtrack?
Yeah.
Boring.
It's different.
It's different. It's really cool, actually. Like, just
very untraditional.
Every area you go into has its own like style of like. I mean, I know a lot of games do that, but it was very noticeable. Like I find I'd be in one area and I'd have like the music there would be cool, and I'd have the music from a different area, or I'd like wake up the next day and I'd be like, I'd have just this music in my head. I'm like, damn, I don't get that a lot anymore. So
yeah, very
amazing game. It's it seems to be getting mild attention, but it really deserves a lot more attention, especially like, the Game Awards kind of gave it like, you got nominated for like bunk things, I think.
Well, they gave it soundtrack, but they didn't even do like an actual like show category. They went to commercial and they came back and they're like, oh hey, Nier Automata best soundtrack, and that was it.
Like, oh, okay. It's like if you blink you miss it. Yeah, they didn't go.
They did a bunch of weird categories like that for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like any other award show. It's not. You're generally not going to agree. Like we said when we talked about this already, so we don't need to go into detail about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, all in all, I fully recommend that. First game I beat of the year, that I started back in November.
Hey.
But I was glad I'm getting to the point where I'm actually able to play more. I'm kind of figuring out a thing where I can work, where I can spend time with my family, and then there's a little bit of time where I could just not go insane.
Yeah, for sure. Then with that said, I think we got some little newsy mentions, nothing big that we're going to focus on this week, but we're going to run through these and then get into our community section. So a couple quick mentions that I had. I wish I could keep a solid streak going, but there's just not enough for me to do this. So, it's when I'm begging for scraps, I'll talk about it. But so for Switch owners, I hope you are all incredibly ecstatic, because I would be if I was a Switch owner. I don't even have a Switch, and I'm excited for this. But Shantae and the Pirate's Curse has been ported to the Switch. It's digital only.
I was saying no Switch port, no buy. So I guess I'll buy.
So unfortunately, no physical version for it. But that's one of those. It's so damn good. I originally even bought Pirate's Curse digitally only because that's what was available, and you know what? I would do it again.
Limited Run did the other Shantae games, and they're doing Switch games now.
So who knows?
Just saying.
I would say, if they do that, totally jump on that, but don't wait, because for those who haven't played Pirate's Curse, I'm telling you, man, this game is so damn good. It's my favorite platformer, hands down. You all know this. I don't need to expand on that anymore.
Hands down, more like hands in the air.
Woo, woo. Then a little correction from the last episode. I'd mentioned the new Overwatch character Bridget had been added, and last time she was only added to the public test realm, where now this character is officially released to everybody in Overwatch. So
you're only redacting that because I got completely pissed off at you that I finally tried Overwatch just to try this, and I'm like, where? You told me, man. And then I put it back on the shelf, and now I'm not touching it. Fuck it.
Yeah, pretty much. Then something, just kind of a quick mention, because I find it interesting. I mean, the game itself, I think, looks kind of cool. I need to spend some more time learning about the game, but people who might be familiar with Joe Vargas, who's also goes by Angry Joe, pretty big game reviewer, YouTuber. I think in a week it will go up, but he put out basically kind of a teaser video for a Street Fighter the Miniatures game, a Street Fighter board game that he's made, that he's taken to Kickstarter. Looks to be pretty ambitious. I don't really know a lot of the details. Like I said, it looks to be like you kind of got a grid-based board. You got Street Fighter characters, kind of like amiibo style, and it seems like the gameplay mechanics mostly go around kind of like a card-based game.
Yeah, it looks really interesting. Like, I never would have imagined a board game of a fighting game.
Yeah. And
I now that I've heard of it, like, without even reading the whole thing that you sent me, I was just kind of like picturing, like, how would I do that? And I was like, yeah, I guess it would be doable.
Yeah, and it looks like there's I'll give him credit from just initially what I've seen. It looks like he legit put a ton of work into this game. He kind of laid out like all these like expansions and boosters that he is working on. The base game is going to be I think essentially Street Fighter 2 kind of based, and then he has like I don't know if they're going to be like included stretch goals or if they're just going to be stretch goals that open up another expansion you can buy. Hopefully it's the former, but he's going to do like he's going to have like a Street Fighter 4 expansion, Street Fighter 5 expansion, Alpha expansion.
I was going to say the expansions have to be called like Turbo and Ultra and
yeah. Okay, maybe that's the plan. But with that too, he's also he's doing, I don't know if it's like just a different version or if it's an add-on, but there's also a Dragon Ball version with this somehow. I don't know exactly the details, but like I said, Anybody
Everyone's always
interested?
trying to add Goku in fighting games, damn it.
I don't. It's what it is these days.
Yeah.
So yeah, just kind of interesting. I mean, like I said, not just for the game, but the fact that Angry Joe is doing this. I was like,
It's kind of cool.
It's
Yeah, it's
different.
I want to see how it pans out. I might pick it up if it's cool.
Yeah, I mean,
I love my
the game
stream.
looks pretty cool. Looks pretty cool. Yeah. So then you had a couple things that you wanted to mention.
Yeah. As a lot of people I'm sure are aware now, there's a Sega collection coming to PS4 and Xbox One, but not Switch, which I'm sure a lot of people are very upset about.
Why isn't everything being ported to the Switch?
God of War isn't on Switch. Ugh.
No Switch port, no buy.
Yeah, which is kind of my comment about the the Shantae game. That's where that came from. But I'm glad. I always buy those because they're usually pretty cheap, and who doesn't love their Genesis games?
Right.
I wish they'd give the Master System more love on those. I mean, the one that came out last gen had a couple unlockable Master System games. I think this one has a couple as well. But I don't know. It'd be cool to see more than just the ones are going to be on there.
They have some pretty cool additions on this one though, compared to previous ones. Like especially having like the Shining Force games and.
Oh yeah, definitely.
There's I can't remember. I don't have the list in front of me, but there were some ones I was like, I saw those on the list. And I'm like, pre-order.
Yeah, I pre-ordered it too. I was just like.
It's not one that you totally don't even need to pre-order, but I was like, don't care, pre-order.
I was just like, do I have to get the version for the Xbox and for the PS4 though? Because it comes with a double-sided poster, and one side is Golden Axe and one side is Streets of Rage. I'm like, don't make me choose. I'm gonna have to like put it in a frame that just rotates in the middle of my room, I guess. Always in the way of the TV, but I'm like, at least I get
just hang it from a string, so like just
like an open sign, I can just turn it when I feel like it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'll hollow out my door and just make the middle of it so I can see it from both sides.
Right.
I'll just get a glass door. Well, yeah. So I was excited about that, but I mean, there's like so many good, like not like licensed games I need to bring, and the number one is like pretty much what pisses me off every time, is because all these classic things, all the classic systems, like the NES Classic, always has the Castlevania games on it, but no Sega game thing ever has Castlevania Bloodlines, and that is my favorite Genesis game. It pisses me off every time. Like the only way to play that game obviously is emulate or the Genesis version. Like everything else has been re-released, even the crappy ones.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's up with that?
What's up with that? Well, now mind selling
their licenses for crap. So, Sega, spend a little bit and get Castlevania.
I don't know.
It's most like one of the most ignored Castlevanias, and it's one of the best. Like, I never see it on people's lists of like even best Castlevanias. It's always like if it's top 10, it's like number 9. Like, it's one of my favorites, if not my favorite.
I've never actually played it to completion. I've only played it a little bit, but it is one of my most desired games. I just don't want to shell out the money for it, for what people want for it.
The soundtrack is just spot on. Like, just it pushed the Genesis hardware. Just some of the visuals on it are just cool. Like I think it's
hell yeah,
the third level with like the water. I remember the first time I saw that, I thought that was like the coolest effect that I hadn't seen. I still don't think I've seen in like a 16-bit game. It just looked badass. Yeah,
Genesis did some pretty cool effects like that.
The only level that can suck a dick is the weird mirror. That wasn't really a mirror castle, but there was like the different. I don't know if it's one of the last levels where you jump, and it's like the screen is like all shifted. So you're like jump here, and your head comes up here.
Oh yeah, I got you.
It's like the most. I remember like getting to that point legit, and then just losing all my lives because I was just like, I cannot figure this out. And I finally beat it legit like a while later, but I kept getting to that. I must have got to that point 20 times and kept dying because it just messed me up that bad. I've never had something do that to me in a game. That's the only blemish on that game to me is I hate that level.
Well, you could just kind of go with the standard phrase on how to resolve that issue.
I did.
I got good. Okay.
Or back in the day, it was get good or get a Game Genie.
Nice.
And I had it, but I didn't want to resort to that.
Yeah, that's a funny thing is like, I don't intend to go off topic here, but just since you brought that up, like up until the point when I really like kind of before I started collecting, when I was starting to get back into trying to play a little bit more retro and stuff, up until that point, like growing up, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, PlayStation, I absolutely refused to use a guide through a first playthrough of a game, to the detriment of some of those games. Like there's a lot of games I could not complete, but now it's like, okay, I'm going to play through this game. If I can't figure this out like in under 30 seconds, I'm just going to go check. That's an exaggeration, but
mine I have to be stuck for a while. I won't completely just be like,
right.
Yes, I can't beat this game, but I mean, it was back before I had access to the internet at home.
Yeah.
It's like, if I can't figure this out and if I play like, say, like hours in a night, and if I can't figure it out, I'll just print it off at school tomorrow from Game Packs and on the old accordion papers printers.
Yeah, and cheating, like using cheat codes and stuff. Like I used to be like, I don't use cheat codes. Because that was kind of a thing of pride of mine, is like some of these old brutal games. Like I slogged my way through some of those games, like Battletoads, Ninja Gaiden and stuff. And
the only cheat device I ever went out of my way for was a Game Shark for the N64. But even then, it was a point of pride that I don't use codes or cheats or anything like that until I beat the game.
Right. And
then I'll cheat the shit out of it, because who cares then? You know, like GoldenEye. I think one of the things was like, I need to see that fucking island on the damn GoldenEye. And you get over there and it's just, oh yeah, that was. I'm glad this thing's useful for other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's. I don't know. It's probably the best of the cheating devices. I think was the Game Shark. I mean the Genie and all that was pretty cool for whatever, and I seem to have them for everything up to the N64. I think I even have a couple of those ones where you had to like pop the tray out, put the disc in.
Oh sure, yeah.
I think it was like the Game Shark for like PS2 or something, but it was such a pain in the ass to use. I think I just used it for like Grand Theft Auto stuff, and then I was like, yeah, I'll just go with the regular codes. This is annoying as shit. But yeah. Anyway, that was a little bit off topic, but we know our stance on cheating in games now. Get good before get cheats. Anyway, the only other little thing I thought was kind of a cool thing to mention was the failed MOBA Paragon is closing down. I think end of April or something like that, I heard. But they've been pretty cool about it, and they're giving all the assets away for free. So anyone who's using the Unreal program for programming can use their assets for free in their games, and so at least it's not all going to waste. I think Epic.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. I think that's cool, because like
that's cool. I mean, if you're gonna go down, might as well go down looking cool rather than going down crying.
And who knows? It's like the from the ashes rises the phoenix.
Yeah,
maybe Paragon's going to be that catalyst for somebody to make that next like really really sweet game. Who knows? But it's cool. It's almost like supporting like the modding communities and stuff too, which
it's cool. I mean, so I mean, I wish more people would follow suit with games that didn't do as well as they expected, or just be cool and share your IP stuff. I mean, You're not going to want to share your mascot, or you're not going to see. Obviously, you're not going to see Nintendo with, oh yeah, just use Mario and whatever you want. We don't care.
Yeah,
it's completely the opposite.
It's like you put footage of Mario on YouTube, take that shit down.
And the guy just taps you on the shoulder while you're uploading it. Where does this dude come from? just steps out of my broom closet. Yeah, so follow suit, other people, especially if you're failing. Anyway,
Sure.
I think that's about the end of our little newsy stuff. And not a
Yeah.
lot of big things. A couple things announced. Speaking of Tomb Raider, the new Tomb Raider game was announced, coming out in September.
Well, they did put a teaser for the teaser, or the teaser for the trailer, which I hate that shit. Don't you want me to watch the trailer? Just tell me what the trailer is. Don't give me a teaser for a trailer.
I didn't even look at it, honestly. I just screenshotted my email I got from Square and sent it to you. Like, ooh, you know me. You know me. I already know I'm buying it, and you already know you're buying it. So,
oh yeah.
So unless they show it, and you're like, oh, they didn't need to do throwback graphics. Well, why did they decide to do that?
Yeah.
But
yeah. So one thing that we're going to start doing here, kind of with the community comments section, is we're going to kind of be a little bit more forthcoming with community question. So we kind of want to make that more of a focus for the community comments section. Like, we want everybody to continue, sharing your thoughts, your feedback, whatever you want to. That's great. But then we really want to kind of see what we can do with this community question segment that we've been trying to get going. So what we're going to do...
Great one last few, and there's been a lot of feedback, a lot of conversations going on in the comments, and I'm all about. I really like that. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we'd like to do is, so every episode we're going to have a question that we will take from the previous episode. So I know last time I said that I was going to give this question another go because I kind of forgot to do it last time. But what I'd like everybody to do, besides your regular comments and stuff, is if you want to throw in an idea for a community question, we will we'll collect those and we'll pull questions to use each week. And
you'll get credit, on-air credit, guys. What?
Woo! Exposure.
Whoa. You are welcome.
With that said, then I just wanted to touch on the community question from last time, which was provided by Discart, which I would definitely recommend you go check out his channel. He makes awesome content. I really hope that his channel blows up. Word needs to get out there.
Yeah, he seems like a really cool guy too. We interacted a bit on the question and in the comments last time too. So yeah, definitely a real cool guy. Check him out.
Yeah. His question was, what is your favorite loading screen from a game? And we just a little bit touched on this last time.
Top of our head kind of thing.
Yeah, so I wanted to expand on that a little bit more, get a little feedback from some comments that we got. So again, I just wanted to mention again that I really liked Castlevania Symphony of the Night's loading screen, where it just says now loading, and if you use your arrows, you can like shift around, so it's kind of like wavy, and pretty much everybody tried to make it like perfectly still, like before it actually loaded. And then I'd mentioned that I've always liked little animations in loading screens, like the Shantae games where it just has Shantae running, stuff like that. And then I wanted to add in this time, really kind of like one of the more legendary loading screens for me anyways, was the original Resident Evil series. Instead of giving you a now loading or something, they did something really interesting with it, and they did the door. So when you were playing those Resident Evil games back in the day, that door animation was the loading. Dino Crisis also did that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
from the same developer, so
just little neat things. Nothing too wild. Doesn't little things impress me sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than nothing. I also like ones where even if it's just like a still picture, if it's got like a nice picture and it's got something to read, like a cool quote or something. I know Spec Ops: The Line would just make you question yourself and make you feel like crap.
I still I still need to play that game. Like, I've wanted to play that game for so long. I just haven't gotten a copy of it.
Okay, well, wait.
No spoilers.
Oh, I thought you were gonna go do that. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Let me need time to go do that. Yeah. So it just the choices you have to make in that game. It's pretty bleak. It's an excellent game, and the loading screens are on point with that too. Another one I remembered after BMG mentioned the Ridge Racer one. I don't really play a lot of racing games, so I didn't even know about that one. So that was kind of cool. But I remember another game having a shooter in it, and it was Tekken 5 had a shooter game in its loading screen. That was cool. I mean, who doesn't love shooters? Something to do.
Yeah.
Something to keep you busy. I mean, I like the 3D models and stuff that you can flip around and look at. There's something to do, but I mean, those get old after a while, especially in a game, as long as the Bethesda games that are kind of famous for doing that by now. And that's all I really have to add besides what I said last time.
Sure. So then a few comments that we got in relation to that question. Of course, you mentioned Black Metal Gamer had mentioned Ridge Racer, which I'm not sure if I actually knew that. I've played like the first couple of Ridge Racers. I played them in the arcade and stuff, but I don't really recall that. But that's pretty cool.
I think I have it. But
he also mentioned one that it's been so long since I played the game, so I totally forgot about it. But one of the like cooler ones was Bayonetta with the loading screen. You can actually practice her moves, and he says genius, and I totally agree with that. That's pretty genius.
Yeah, like I said, the Devil May Cry also did that. I think at least the first one, I think it was. So any game like that where you could do that, especially the crazy combos that those games have.
Right. And let's see,
also like, especially if it's loading like in between action scenes, it like keeps the adrenaline going too, rather than just, oh, this is so intense.
Yeah. And then not on the video, but one of my friends that has been listening to the podcast since the beginning pretty much sent me some messages, so I just wanted to include him. You can be included on this podcast in many ways, shapes, and forms. You don't have to just comment on the YouTube video. It makes it easier so I can track that info, but feel free to send us messages and stuff too. My friend Justin, who actually will be, some of you might possibly see him in some Midwest Gaming Classic stuff because he is going with us. We're carpooling and going to be.
He's going to be in my vlog.
But he said, Onichambra, you can kill zombies on the load screen, which not a game that they could have sold me on the game. They had two things I really enjoy: fan service and zombies, but the gameplay is just like, I'm good on that.
Lollipop Chainsaw too.
Well, I really enjoyed Lollipop Chainsaw.
That had a cool loading screen.
What was
riding a bike?
Yeah. He also mentioned Ridge Racer. He said, in kind of relation to what I mentioned about Shantae, Suikoden wasn't interactive, but always showed different character running during loading screens, and the fact that it switched through different characters, pretty sweet.
Yeah,
I would say
anything that gives you something to look at, you got to respect, rather than just a black screen or a loading with some dots. You're like,
for sure. And then kind of like a whole genre or style of loading screens are the informational ones. He had mentioned Metal Gear 5 has tip screens while loading. Also not interactive, but games like Dark Souls, Bloodborne have lore and item descriptions. Resident Evil 7 that I just played through has actually some really valuable information that you can cycle through, because you have to hit X to actually load. Once it's done loading, hit X to like jump back into the game.
In case
There's
you walk away.
yeah, which
Respect for those ones that have a longer load screen too. You're like, yeah, older games like I mentioned,
7 had
take a CD and shit when it would take so long. You definitely were like walking away and doing something while that loaded. So if it just popped into it, you'd have to like run back to the room if it didn't have like a press A to continue.
Yeah. So yeah, no, great question. I'm sure there's lots of awesome loading screens that we're not thinking about. I tried to pull from memory and not like go up and just look online.
Yeah, I try not to Google what's going on.
I'm sure there's
I stood here and I honestly stood here and just like
try to pull the info out of your brain. Like
no, I looked at the wall.
Loading.
Yeah.
So so Discard again, thank you for the question. And like I said, feel free everybody to throw out some potential questions that we can use in the future. So then for the next episode, Black Metal Gamer left the question that we're going to use, and I think it is a good one that is always fun to talk about. What modern game would you like to see as a demake? So leave us your comments.
Yeah.
We will have some answers for you next time on this one.
I've already got a couple ideas I'm excited to share. So definitely I want to hear your guys' ideas too. Keep them coming. Keep us with some new questions.
Yeah. So then just running through some community comments here as we're wrapping things up. Got a comment from Boss and Burf. It says, sucks a lot of your footage got messed up, talking about some of the Elgato issues that I'd mentioned that happen by default if you don't change some settings and you binge play. And he says, that's one issue he does have with Elgato is it takes forever to render stuff. He's heard OBS is better and quicker for capturing, although the couple times he tried, the audio was out of sync. And if anybody wants to check out that video, I kind of talked a little bit about using Handbrake to render your Elgato files instead of actually using the game capture software that Elgato provides. Fantastic solution, way fast compared to other methods, and I haven't had a single issue.
Yeah, I finally got mine hooked up, and I was impressed. There's like 3 different programs that comes with it. There's a 4K capture. There's a stream bar, something they called it, where it was just like you could set up streaming, and then there was the HD capture. So I'm looking forward to playing with some of those. I mean, I can do some 4K capture with the Pro, so I might dabble in that, see what's up.
Yeah. Then a comment from BioPhoenix is he says he feels you on the jump cuts. That shit is a lot harder than you think. And that was me talking about how I edit the crap out of almost any time I'm on camera, and I try to not make it look horrible, but it's what it is.
I try to do like a dry run where I might even record it, where I just basically go through and then I kind of critique what I thought I could do better, and then I just do another one. I generally don't have to cut too much, so I that's what I try to do. But
yeah. Then he also added on that 8-bit music is pretty great stuff, and he always likes the idea of having demakes as a style. That was about the Odin Sphere demake minigame that Atlas put out that I had captured some gameplay and mainly the music and put them up on my channel. So if you want to see some pretty awesome chiptunes versions of some Odin Sphere music, head on over.
Chiptunes is the best.
Yes. And then he said, oh man, going on IGN for user reviews is probably the worst. It makes the sarcastic Steam reviews look more credible.
Definitely. I was ripping on them about. I was like, I don't ever go on IGN or anything like that. I just go from people I know that I know I share games in common with, rather than online, basically.
Yeah. And then he had loved those metalwork videos where they make different weapons for video games and other cool shit. Back when he had cable, he used to watch a show called Forged in Fire, where they'd make historic weapons and actually use them.
That's cool. And just like go out and attack people.
I think
I've seen that show. I've seen that show before too. It was pretty cool. They go test them out on dummies and stuff, though. I think that's always fun to watch.
Yeah. Then we got some comments from Black Metal Gamer.
Yeah.
He says, "Don't apologize for lost focus. Y'all talk and keep my night sanity levels at the right spots."
There you go. We're here for you. We got your back.
Yeah, we do a pretty good job there. And then he also said, "Secret of Mana is fine. A remake that's been raped wrongly and cruelly by Ubisoft's fucking up TMNT Turtles in Time. Reshelled."
Yeah, bud.
Goddamn, I paid $50 for that, and I was irate. That game sucks so bad.
I can attest to that. That I hadn't played that game since like it was pretty new, a couple years old maybe, and I was so stoked when that was coming to the Xbox Marketplace, and then I was just like, couldn't have just brought the actual, because it was like the arcade version redone too. So it's not like it even had the extra Super Nintendo level. So it was the shorter version. Then it was done bad.
Ugh.
so yeah, it should have been called Turtles in Time. What the hell?
Yeah. And then of course, BMG left us the community question that we're using, and then he chimed in and said, "A Gears of War 16-bit like Contra."
That would be the nice.
Could be sweet.
Or even like a twin stick would be kind of cool too.
Yeah, true that. Then we had his comment about the Bayonetta loading screen and Ridge Racer, and then he also said Wolfenstein 2 looked great and handled and played great. He hated the repetition of the same shit each level, taking out backup calling guards and no bosses. And I can see with that. Like a lot of the levels were kind of laid out that way, where you just had to make it through, and if you didn't take out the commanders or whoever they were before they called backup, then you'd have to deal with a wave of enemies and stuff. But I didn't mind it too much.
Sweet.
Then again, we got a comment from Eric DeGroff, and he says, "What does Jason think of Injustice 2 with the Turtles, Hellboy, and Swamp Thing? Love the show. Keep it up, guys. You kick ass." And I think you kind of covered your thoughts on Injustice there.
Yeah, it actually made me play a bit more of it, because I had downloaded the Turtles basically right when they went on, because I had money like waiting. I'm like, I hope they don't cost more than this. So I didn't feel like buying an expensive. I was like, I'm not gonna spend like $30 on them, but I think they ended up being like 12 Canadian. I'm like, I can do that for 4 characters. And then I think I picked up a couple other guys that were pretty cheap. I think I got I didn't get Hellboy. I might pick him up eventually if I get more into the game, but I grabbed Sub-Zero because I just felt compelled to. I left Raiden, but I got Darkseid too. So
nice.
Yeah, I really liked the way they play. The way they kind of like tag team off like with their moves and shit too. I definitely want to play more of it, but yeah, I'm really pleasantly, well, not, I wouldn't say surprised, but I'm impressed so far.
Sweet.
And NetherRealm has just got it on point with their added characters in the game, like Mortal Kombat X. Only thing it's missing is because they had the character in the previous Mortal Kombat game was Freddy, where they had Jason, Leatherface, and who the hell else was in there?
Predator?
Oh yeah, Predator and Alien are both in there. But yeah, like they could have had some pretty sweet serial killer mashups in there. But I mean, whatever. You want to rehash characters too, but yeah, they should have thought ahead with that and had Freddy and Jason in the same game.
For sure.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, they always got it dialed in with their extra characters. So it's usually why I don't even bother buying one of their games now until there's like a complete edition, because I know I'm just gonna want to shell out for the extra characters. No pun intended.
Yeah.
Pun intended. That was a bad pun. But yeah, I shelled out the extra for the Turtles, and honestly, I'd probably grab a complete edition if I saw it cheap enough. But I got such a good deal on it. I was like, I'm paying less than half price for it, and it's only like a month or two old. So that's why I broke the rule a bit on that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
I'll have some more in depth. I think the next one because I intend to play more. It's my kind of in between for Yakuza when I'm doing too much. Right now, when I'm farming money, I kind of switch over to the Xbox on the other channel and play a couple rounds, and then come back and collect my money because it's just like you just wait like 10 minutes and I get like 1 billion yen now. So it's really helping with the upgrades, and sure beats sitting around waiting for that. I also get a lot of chores done too, so I'm playing games and doing chores. So if you want to
Win.
yeah, it's a win-win situation. Anyway, what else we got for?
Yeah. So this is a little bit longer. Why do I hear myself?
We're only
Did you
5
unplug
over.
Did you unplug your headphones?
No, I did not.
I can hear myself. That sounds better. So Discard left. It's kind of a longer comment, so which is totally fine. He says, "So I'm only a third away through the podcast, and he wants to comment before he forgets. Congrats, Jason, for finishing near. He finally finished all routes and endings yesterday. As of the last podcast, he'd never been more happy to make a choice like that at Route H. And it says, second, the Elgato and filming struggle. He's been too afraid to record huge gameplays with the Elgato, so he ended up clicking that record button often, which kind of pulls you out of the game. As for filming, he's filmed an entire episode of outtakes, all with no sound, only to find out when beginning editing, which I've done a couple times.
I recorded actually one of my re-recordings of my channel update I had to do because I didn't realize I had it set that my headset was my mic from doing the podcast and stuff. So it just got the video, and I'm just sitting here like, and it was a good draft except for the no sound. So that really bummed me out.
Right.
Eyebrows on fleek.
Then he also said he thinks he sounds ridiculous talking about games, but he's hoping the more he does it, the better he will get. And absolutely, that's how it goes. I think for just starting out, Discards does an awesome job at his delivery. Very well done. So yeah, you will get better as you go, and I will be pretty excited to see how things improve.
I find I gotta kind of hype myself up before I make a video, just overconfident, and the way I am in general, I'm kind of laid back sounding. Mm-hmm. But I know that in my videos I try not to sound boring, but I also don't want to overinflate myself and be like, "Hey guys, how's it going?" I'm not that guy. I want to be very real I don't want to be a character, So I try to push the emotion a little bit, be a little bit more upbeat sounding, but believe me, I'm more excited than I seem. I can just I'm excited to be here. You don't even know how excited I am, but
right. Totally. And then he did say he did get Yakuza 6, the full game from the download. They did, however, found a way to kill it after the fact. He got some good hours in first. He's glad they kill it because Yakuza deserves lots of money.
Hells yeah. They're getting all my money because I've got 6, the Essence of Art edition pre-ordered, and just today I pre-ordered the Steelbook of Kiwami 2. So
nice.
Take my money, Yakuza. You've got me.
Yeah.
You really got me. Van Halen.
Then we got a comment from Rising Blue Phoenix, who we mentioned is going to be on the panel with us at MGC 2018, and he says, "Whoop whoop partay."
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my sentiments exactly.
Nothing but good plans.
Yeah. Then a comment from Back in the Day Gamer, and he says he will catch us at MGC this year for sure.
Awesome. See you there, buddy.
Absolutely.
Well, anybody who hears the podcast, come up and say hi. It would be cool to meet someone who watches our vids or, listens to us. It's kind of be cool to hear some real life feedback. Unless I said something that makes you want to punch me in the face and walk the other way, bud.
Yeah, and really, just look for us. Friday night, Saturday night. I mean, Whoop Whoop Partay is pretty much my plan. So, let's get a crew together. Let's hang out. Let's have a good time.
Hell yeah. Let's burn them motherfuckers down.
So, I had things kind of planned out where we're going to try to get back into talking about upcoming games, but we went a little long as per usual. So I'm going to figure out how to work that in because I like talking about what games are coming out because it helps me keep up on new releases as well.
Well, I got 2 coming in the next fucking 4 days. I got Ni no Kuni 2 coming in tomorrow, and I got Far Cry 5 coming in on Tuesday. So
nice. So you're going to be playing those
after Yakuza. But I am very stoked for both. But they are, as you know, not in my criteria for short games. They will be played very soon because if I pre-order a game, I really want to play it. So they'll be sooner rather than later games. But I really want to hit a bunch of short games.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm doing right now. There's nothing like no like new releases that I'm like dying to play immediately at this moment. So I got this like opportunity to try to squeeze in some stuff from my backlog. So I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna play next.
You squeeze some things into your backlog like Yakuza 0.
That too.
Oh god.
But I think I will probably be playing The Last of Us Remastered because a couple of reasons. Of course, we got Last of Us 2 coming out hopefully at the end of this year. And then the Cartridge Club is covering that as their game of the month for March. So I was like, I've played it before. It's pretty much my favorite game on the PlayStation 3, which says a lot.
Which is good.
Especially beating like Metal Gear Solid 4, which, of course, I'm a huge Metal Gear fan. And it will not only refresh me on the story and everything. I never actually played the DLC for it, which I heard was pretty good.
Yeah, me either. I actually owned it before I owned a PS4. I got they came out with the bundle that came with the code for it. And when they did that at Walmart, they also had a bunch of just like the base, just the system itself that they were supposed to stick a sticker on and put the code in, but all we had was the bundle. So we just had this envelope full of codes.
Nice.
So I grabbed a bunch of codes and gave them to my friends I knew that had a PS4 and held on to one for myself for when I got one.
Yeah.
But now I got a physical copy of it too. So
nice.
Whatever.
Cool.
More Last of Us.
Yeah, and actually I picked up the remaster when I bought my PS4, so that was like 3 years ago.
What's taking so long?
Well, I mean, I've played it, so I'm not like in a huge rush to replay games. So I got this massive backlog, but don't give me that crap. So yeah, then I think just for the sake of time, we will wrap things up here. Just want to let anybody listening on whatever platform how you can get a hold of us. Of course, as always, you can look us up on YouTube. Myself as The Game Grinder and Jason as Corpse Flood Gaming. Also on Facebook. And you can look me up on Twitter as _Game Grinder. I'm also on Instagram now. You can look up the podcast as well, the Game Tenants Podcast, on any podcast app, iTunes, YouTube,
also
SoundCloud.
Fight me in real life. I don't care. Fight me in
That
real life.
too. So, yeah, I think that will do it for this episode of the Game Tenants Podcast.
Thanks for coming and hanging out, and don't forget, come hang out again.